Hey guys, Nebraska Boy Gaming here again today, and today we're going to take a look at Titan loadouts. So we'll start with chassis. So far in the beta, all we know is Atlas. This is supposed to be kind of like the middle way Titan. He's somewhat agile, he's somewhat beefy, but he's not the extreme end of either. He's in between those two things. That is reported on the website currently for Titanfall. Next, we'll move on to primary weapons. We have 3 primary weapons we've seen here in the beta. We've seen the 40mm cannon. This by far has been my favorite Titan weapon so far. It is a semi-automatic 40mm cannon rocket launcher. It does pretty darn good damage. It's very accurate, has very good range, and it fires at a pretty decent rate. Looking at that, we've got the burst fire and the extended mag. Burst fire, I found the damage hit that you incur from taking burst fire isn't worth it. However, extended mag helps quite a bit, having an extra 20% larger magazine. Alright, so moving on from there, we have the quad rocket next. This I have found about as useful as a toothpick when I've been fighting. It just isn't accurate enough, it doesn't have enough ammo. The damage it does is decent, but it could use a bit of a buff. I think the biggest problem, though, is the velocity of the rockets is just so incredibly slow that if anyone has a shield on, it's the easiest thing to block, or you can dodge it really easily, too, if you sprint out of the way. It's just not a very good weapon. However, it is probably the best weapon if you're taking out a dropship at the end of the game. You'll do the most damage in the least amount of time then, but that's on a non-moving, non-living, non-fighting target, and there's only one per game, so not worth it in my opinion. Finally, we have the XO16 chain gun. This gun's alright. I wouldn't rank it as high as the 40mm cannon, but it certainly gets the job done. It does work a little bit better at longer ranges. It has a much higher round velocity, a bullet velocity per for the ammunition over the 40mm cannon. The damage is certainly less, as you can see, than the 40mm cannon, but the accuracy in the long range can make up for it. Personally, I'm not preferable to it, but different people have different playstyles, so I'll leave that one up to you guys. I haven't unlocked anything with this, but there is the accelerator, which will accelerate the fire rate, and extended mag, that's pretty self-explanatory. Alright, next we'll move on to Titan tactical abilities. We have the Vortex Shield and Electric Smoke. The Vortex Shield has been my personal favorite. It'll block any incoming projectiles. This includes from both Titan and from on-ground pilots. There's quite a few tactics you can use while using this. Once you get it down, it's a very, very useful ability to have. Electric Smoke, I'm not a huge fan of it. It's not nearly as useful, I don't think, as a Vortex Shield. It's very useful, though, when you have either a pilot on your back or you're in very close quarters with another Titan. However, I find the Vortex Shield just tends to get the job done a little bit better. Next, moving on, we have the Ordnance. We have Rocket Salvo and Slaved Warheads. The Rocket Salvo has been my personal favorite in this category. It fires a barrage of rockets pretty darn quickly off your back, and it's not too terribly hard to aim. These are somewhat easy to block if you're using the shield, but you get what you take. Moving on, we have the Slaved Warheads. Very similar, they fire in pairs of 3 though, and they have somewhat of a homing ability to them. However, I have found they just aren't as effective as the Rocket Salvo. The Rocket Salvo just fires those out there much, much quicker. Alright, moving on from Ordnance, we have the Tier 1 kit. Tier 1 has nuclear ejection, regen booster, and fast autoloader. Nuclear ejection has been my personal favorite. I've used it a lot as a bail move to get an extra kill as I'm bailing from my Titan. If you pair nuclear ejection with auto eject, it's a very lethal and safe combination for you. Nuclear ejection will make your Titan turn into a very large bomb when you are in the danger zone and when your Titan finally dies. It has a pretty good area of effect, and if you can get in close in melee distance with another Titan and he doesn't get too far away, you're most likely to kill him and his pilot. Regen booster simply regenerates your shields faster than the normal rate. This is good if you're able to pop in and out of combat and start popping your shield on, and so you can proc that effect, but I find it's not quite as useful to me as nuclear ejection. but it's certainly worth a try. Fast auto loader simply replenishes your ordnance faster, not your actual main gun though. I don't use my ordnance that much. I normally either open or try to close with it though, so I don't find myself using this a whole lot in battles, but depending on your playstyle it might become useful for you. Finally, we have the tier 2 kits. This has auto eject and survivor. Starting with auto eject, I mentioned this a little bit earlier along with nuclear ejection. It will automatically eject your pilot about as soon as you reach the danger zone. It will also cloak you when it launches you out. I find this to be a very, very good ability to have. It lets me, at least, fight till I have essentially no health left, and I don't have to worry about ejecting in time, which is a very nice thing. Finally, we have Survivor. This makes sure that you will lose health slower when your Titan becomes doomed. Personally, I am not a fan of this one. I prefer not to be doomed. I don't think anyone wants to be, but I try to stay not doomed as much as possible, so I find the time I spend while doomed isn't worth it to use this kit, just because I'm not there very often. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this video on Titanfall, the Titan custom loadouts. Please like and subscribe, favorite this video if you really want to. I'm not gonna make you, but hey, why not, right? I hope you guys are looking forward to Titanfall. I know I am when it comes out this March, and I will see you guys later.